Hey folks, welcome back. Thanks again for joining us. So this week we've got a number of different things to focus on. So it starts with a kind of a quick geographical summary of where most of these captures occur. And then we move on to some drone footage courtesy of the federal government. And then we transition to a few other areas, which, the video will explain itself. There is one section where I'm going to pop back in because it's actually a local news segment from Denver from 12 years ago, actually, 2012, where a fellow was capturing similar things that are featured on this channel. And to the credit of the local news channel in Denver, they just did a segment on it. And so thanks to Robert Shipe for providing this to me. So I wanted to share it with you because it's topical. It's older now, but it's nonetheless topical. So so there's that, and then we round down with a few other captures. So enjoy. Let us know what you think. Like I always say, comment and feel free to share this with people you think might enjoy it or might have some insight. And we'll talk to you on the other side. Thanks. All right, so to start out with, a number of people have asked where a lot of these videos come from that we post on this channel. And so I came up with this little parallelogram to sort of define the borders of where most of these videos are. And so what we have here on the top left is Vandenberg Air Force Base. You go due east to that top right corner, and that's Edwards Air Force Base. Then you go down to the right, and that is 29 Palms, also Joshua Tree National Park, and then you go due west out over the ocean, and that's Catalina Island in the bottom left. And I'm located in the second E in the word Los Angeles. That's basically where I am, pretty much right in the middle of this parallelogram. As I've mentioned before, in that same mountain range where I am is also NASA JPL, and then just north of that mountain range is the California High Desert, where in addition to Edwards Air Force Base, there's also Raytheon, Lockheed, and all the other defense contractors. All right, so with that little housekeeping out of the way, you guys might remember this footage from a couple months ago. And, I don't know what it is, but I just know it's different, right? And so there are a number of people in the comments that mentioned the Perdix drones. And so I wanted to take a look at that footage of the Perdix drones and sort of share it with you. I don't think these are those. Maybe it's some, newer iteration of them. Who knows? But check this out. So here is what a Perdix drone looks like. And these are kind of the component parts of it. And then here are the specs. And this one particular shot looks like an Imperial TIE fighter to me, which is kind of funny. But anyway, so this is the size of him. And then if we're going to check him out, the actual footage, we're going to go up to China Lake, which is north of the high desert near Ridgecrest, California. And there is a naval weapons station there. So as the drone flies, this is about 130 miles north of the LA basin, and the footage we're going to focus on now was captured in 2017 when there was a test deployment of these Perdix drones from some F-18s, and this is what that looked like. So as you can see up in the top right there, it's pretty subtle. I mean, these things are coming out of this container, and I don't know. There's not a lot to say about it really, but what's interesting is that close up, they just look like little machines. They look like little drones, right? But the further away you get from them, and the closer you get to playing it at real speed, the less they look like machines and the more they look like insects, which I think is probably part of the point. But either way, check this out at real speed. Look at this. Yeah, so, you know, I'm researching these drones and then I find footage from 2017 of them, and lo and behold, these drones are getting buzzed by something else. And it's fascinating to me because, people talk about baiting these things with drones and kites and stuff. And it looks like it was happening by mistake up in China Lake in what is presumably closed off airspace. So obviously, I can't vouch for distance. I don't know how far away this was from the camera, but what I can tell you is there's one that's closer to the camera, and it looks like this. And again, this is, you know, at a naval air weapons station, and in the midst of a deployment of this technology, and this thing pops up in the space. Okay, so here's that segment from the Denver, Colorado news outlet. Check this out.
And when we slowed down our photographer's video, we saw this flying object.
I would consider myself an expert.
Aviation expert Steve Cowell is a former commercial pilot, instructor, and FAA accident prevention counselor.
It's very strange.
He thought he would have a logical explanation until he watched the video.
That is not an airplane. That is not a helicopter. Those are not birds. I can't identify it.
Cowell told us he knows of no aircraft that flies as fast.
Because of the speed of the object, most people, I think, would miss it.
Cowell did say there is one other possibility.
Perhaps there's some sort of debris that's being raised up by some of the atmospheric winds.
But in his professional opinion,
as it fits the definition, it's an unidentified flying object.
The FAA tracks all air traffic in Colorado and across the country. The FAA sent us a statement saying, "We've checked with air traffic control and no one has had any reports of the activity you describe, nor have any of our employees observed anything of this nature either visually or on their radar displays." The North American Aerospace Defense Command is located in Colorado Springs. It keeps an eye on the skies in case of an air attack against the U.S. NORAD sent us this statement. Our command center reviewed their records and they did not have any noted air activity in the Denver area during the times you indicated.
There's the smokestack.
The man who first brought this to our attention believes the UFOs are launching and landing near 56th and Clay in Denver. A map shows only homes in the area. So is it a UFO, a secret military test, floating debris? The answer is anything but clear. It appears to be a mystery in the sky. People keep saying it's a bug. It's not a bug. That was another one that he said. Definitely not an insect. But don't say bugs because it's
Don't
not
say
that.
bug, don't say bird.
It's
not a bird,
No.
it's not a plane.
And this aviation expert knows what he's talking about.
This is actually from North Carolina, and it's a Chinook responding to the events of Hurricane Helene. And I'm not going to show any other footage from this hurricane, but I saw a lot of anomalous aerial activity, but I'm just not comfortable sharing it. But I can share this with a degree of comfort. And the point is that these things are ubiquitous. They're everywhere. This is a drone launched in Iraq towards Israel. And just like the Hurricane Helene footage, there's a ton of stuff I've seen in this war zone that I'm not comfortable sharing. I'll leave it to someone else to share, but I'll share this one. I mean, looking at that at real time, at real speed, it's next to impossible to really see anything. But that's sort of the point of these things, is like they're operating at a speed that is not normal for us. And it's in a way, I think it's a way of camouflage. It's just camouflage by speed. Here's another drone situation in a war zone, and if you've watched this channel for any length of time, you've seen this image before. This is not uncommon. This one will be a little tough to see in real time, so I'll just tell you it's on the right side of the screen right after the drone drops whatever ordnance it's delivering. So with this next capture, I know this is a bit choppy, but I'm doing my best to show you how far in I zoomed in order to capture this. And once you realize that, you'll understand that these things aren't insects flying right in front of a camera. Because if they were, they'd be absolutely gigantic and wildly out of focus. The other thing too, and I know I've mentioned this many times in prior presentations, but statistically speaking, what are the odds of insects being repetitively captured as they just happen to cross paths in the foreground with something that's in the background like an aircraft? It's just improbable statistically. And then once you look at a zoom in like this and acknowledge how far away you actually are, and then you see some footage like this, you have to me, you have to, acknowledge the reality that, these are not insects in the foreground. And that's before you even get to the point of there being no wings or any other sign of, propulsion. All right, so that's it. I'm off my soapbox about zooming in and whatnot. So look, check this out. We've seen this before, but it never gets old, and it's perpetually unexplainable. I've yet in the comments or online or anywhere see an explanation or definition of what we're looking at when we see these things. All right, so we're going to wrap up this presentation with this one, which is pretty cool looking. And interestingly, this is, you already saw this, or you may have, because it's in the same footage we just watched with that helicopter. I know it's tough to see, but like I said in a recent presentation, so what? Sharks are hard to see in the ocean too, but it doesn't mean they're not there. I mean, this thing was in space and it zoomed by. Where in space it was compared to that helicopter, who knows? But the fact is, this thing was there. Okay, there you have it, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I said at the outset, it's a little different. There's a few different things going on with this one. But chime in the comments, let us know what you think, and talk to you on the next one. Thank you.